never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bait and I make plans for 7:45, and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Happy Women's Day indeed, and good evening, guys. How you doing? How's everybody doing this evening? How was everybody's weekend? I tell you, if you're out this way in Ontario, we are getting a bit of a tease when it comes to spring. We're expecting some incredible weather. So all these wonderful colors that we're seeing, including the purple, which commemorates, of course, and pays tribute to International Women's Day. I can't say enough about all the women. Big shout out, of course, a big shout out, thank you to our legacy members, Walter and Steve, for helping me put that tribute video together. If you haven't seen it, it's just below this, I believe, or just above this on the Facebook timeline. Anyway, get a chance to have a look at, we tried to pay a tribute to all of the CFNers, all the CFN ladies, but of course, if we were to do that, the video would have been an hour long. So, as I said, we'd love to have added more ladies, but it would be almost a day long. So, here's my thank you on behalf of all of us here at CFN. You ladies rock, and not just today, but every day. You ladies kick arse and collect names, and we are a better community for having all you ladies here. So to all of you, MJ, I see your name popping up here. Tash is here. You know who you are. You ladies who come here and pump our tires and support our community and make our community a better place. We thank you. But as I said, for all of Yvonne's guests and a few longtime CFNers, we did what we could because the song was only so long, so we couldn't add everybody we would like to have. But as I said, big shout out, thank you to all you ladies, because not just today, but every day you kick it, and we're glad to have you with us. Start on a bit of a downer, but as I said, he is here. So Kevin, this is for you, buddy. I know you're hurting. I know you're grieving at the recent loss of Pops, your dad, to Sam Carrera. I hope you are in the heavens, hooking slabs and big ones and trophies, but you will be forever remembered here on earth with the rest of our community because you have left our big brother, Big Kev, in your place. And as I said, when it comes to our community, we are a lucky bunch to have Big Kev a part of our group and our family. And Kev, our thoughts are with you, bud, because as I say, I can imagine how tough it is, dude. It's not easy losing a father, a mother, a close family member. But as I said, you guys, we're all thinking of you. Our thoughts and prayers are also with the entire French family who's dealing with some stuff, namely Ryan, who was diagnosed with COVID and, of course, is fighting that virus. He's receiving treatment. As I said, COVID it's got many ugly faces, and hopefully it only wears a few in you, Ryan. So our thoughts and prayers are with you, buddy, and hopefully you pull through this. What's this? How I got cured from herpes? What is that? Okay, well, if anybody's struggling with that, by all means, reach out to whoever that is, and they can UPS you some medicine. Fantastic. See, We help out our community in so many different ways, including herpes. At this time, I want to take the opportunity to reach, well, basically for our entire community, reach out to a good friend of mine. And of course, everybody who knows Rob Cadeau knows that he has been fighting the fights of all fights when it comes to cancer. And it's been a tough one. It's been a tough one for him. And he's been dealing with a few setbacks. So on behalf of our entire CFN community and myself, buddy, we're thinking of you. And hopefully you can fight the big fight and manage to find a few comforting days ahead. As I said, he's had a bit of a setback, but our entire CFN family is pulling for you, bud. So thoughts and prayers out to Rob Cadeau and, of course, the entire Cadeau family who is going through this fight and this journey with him. It's never an easy one, but as I said, we are thinking of you big time. Rob's also known for his muskie prowess. So on that note, I want to share this banner because this is actually really cool that we are going to be a part of this. But I am proud to say that CFN is going to have the opportunity to be a part of the production team and perhaps even hosting a segment dealing with muskie research and its conservation. So really cool. As you can see the date there, hopefully you guys can hear me. April 17th to 18th. It's a 2-day event. It's going to include seminars, some guest speakers. You are going to have different people speaking at these seminars. There's a whole host of the who's who of muskie here in Canada. The whole thing's being hosted by Muskies Canada. There's also going to be a silent auction that's going to include online bidding. I can't imagine what baits they are going to be, and hopefully you can get a nice lodge stay or some equipment or some much needed tackle and baits, muskie baits that will be made available through Muskies Canada and all of their incredible sponsors. April 17th to 18th from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's going to be quite the event. And as I said, very proud to have our CFN community a part of this, as we have been recognized by Yvonne, who gave our name and our hosting prowess when it came to StreamYard to the organizer. And Peter has been in touch with me, and it looks very, very awesome. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to seeing all of you cool CFN family with us on those 2 days when it comes to muskie. Really looking forward to that. Now, on a happy note, an even happier note than that, let us give out some birthday wishes to some CFNers. Richard Elliott, who's turning 9. Alain Moran, who is turning 11, and Gary Hodge, who got his first tooth, is turning 3. So to all you 3 CFNers, Richard, Alain, and Gary Hodge, happy birthday, and hopefully you are enjoying a fantastic day with your family, friends, and whoever it is that you hang out with, especially here on your birthday. CFN jerseys, holy crap. They're doing very, very well, and I want to thank everyone who has purchased one. So far to date, there are 27 of them sold. Can't thank you guys enough. Richard Dunlop has been doing a fantastic job getting all your orders together, and as I said, it means a lot, man, because this is a small way for us to generate some funds to help, with shipping and all kinds of wonderful things that we do here at CFN to provide to our community, because it's all about you guys. This ain't about us. This is about you guys and giving back to our community. So I think that's awesome that you guys see the value in what we're doing and want to wear our flag on the back of your on your backs and shoulders and on your chest. So as I said, I also want to give you a bit of a sneak peek. So have a look at this, and it's just a sneak peek, I hope, did you see that? Okay, I'll give you one more. Now, we're hoping to have that available for Walleye Opener. Working very hard to get that together, but hopefully it's going to be available through Rise Apparel and our good buddy Tom Priest, who is working diligently behind the scenes to get it set up on the website. We are still in the R&D, almost ready for launch, but it's pretty cool, and it's got a CFN theme and taste to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys purchase that for wallet opener. And congratulations to Ryan Bambeck when it comes to the lighter side of CFN and that Friday post that we put up of the dog looking down the hole. He was the winner. And where's my phone? Let me get it, because I did write this down and I wanted to make sure, because basically it was I was going to put it to the legacy members, but of course they're so busy, and I can't thank these guys and gals enough for all they do when it comes to your edits, your videos. Like Terry's video this morning was fantastic. Walter and Steve put together that commemorative tribute to ladies because it's International Women's Day. There was just a whole host of stuff, the edits that go on a regular basis. So I just decided to pick the one that I laughed at the hardest, and Ryan's was definitely it. And his response is, what was it? Make up a meme contest, 3K for live scope when all you have to do is this. Loved it. Anyway, Ryan, you are the winner of a Scotty pack from Outdoor Flavors. I will get your address and make sure that we get that out to you. We're going to be doing that on the regular, or at least going to be trying to on the regular. It's the lighter side of CFN. Sometimes we're just going to post something that's funny, but we want your involvement and your engagement. And guys, gals, the number of responses that we got for that, kudos to you. Fantastic job. Absolutely awesome as always. So again, I want to congratulate Ryan on that. The Winter Fish Fest, my word, is it ever heating up? We're getting some new entries daily, and we've got some keeners out there, but I want to say this one's for you, Marlo. The Soretti family, I can't thank you guys enough for all you do to get your family, your sons and daughters out fishing. But I tell you, Luca's got a soft spot in my heart when it comes to some of his entries, because the way he says, this one's for you, Scotty, I tell you, man, it makes me smile. And Marlo, every time they asked her, what fish did you catch? This one's for Scotty. Her answer was that for everything. What's your name? This one's for Scotty. Where are you from? This one's for Scotty. It was so cool. It was so cool, so cute. And as I said, can't thank the Soretti family enough for all you do. This one's for you. Richard's in the house. How you doing? Yes, happy International Women's Day. Curtis Boyle's in the house. You're going to want to stay tuned, Curtis, because I do believe when Jason does his segment, he is going to finally be doing that giveaway, and we're going to be spinning some wheel. Jeanette, you're going to want to stay tuned for sure. Tony, definitely. You're going to want to stay tuned. No, I'm not answering any questions on it. You got a sneak peek, Tony. That's all you're getting tonight, buddy. How's Keith Duster? Keith's in the house. Steve McKinnon, how you doing? Dean Howard, yes, baby. Yeah, absolutely. Trisha, absolutely. Alicia's here. Brad Foss, good evening to you as well, sir. As I said, it's nice to have our family here each and every Monday. It means the world that you guys are able to take time, stop in, say hello, leave a comment. And as I said, we try to bring you some riveting, educational, and inspiring content. And as I said, I can't think of anybody that is more inspiring, more educational, and gives us more know-how than our good buddy, Jim McLaughlin. And on that note, let's get to Jim's segment. But here is a word from our sponsor. My favorite video, I might add.
What's going on? I
How
love that
you doing?
video. I'm ready
Buddy,
to grab I'm ready to grab a crankbait rod and go out.
Right. And I'll tell you, this weather is teasing us right along with that, with all, the warmer weather that's coming, and of course some rain. It's springtime here in Ontario, but I'll tell you, that video gets us ready for summer. Jim, you know that question you asked me probably, what was it, about 8-9 months back about that situation that you were having? Well, somebody came on here and left us a link on how to cure herpes. Darndest thing. Just kidding. I couldn't believe it. I'm reading the hellos and highs and whatever, and then all of a sudden, have you got a raging outcropping of herpes? Here's a link to. Never seen that. Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, not last time I checked. Now, Jim, I have a surprise for you.
Uh-oh. I like surprises.
This is truly an honor for you. And I promise I will wash it and iron it and make sure that it is available. This came from the Shaw family, and it is long overdue. Steve's been bugging me. You sure you haven't got it yet? You sure you haven't got? No, it finally showed up today. It's what you say all the time. Stop doing what's not working. And the man himself.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Hey, so you probably had this for about a month, and you're out masquerading with that shirt to get chicks. I know you.
How did you know? How did you know?
Just get a haircut. They'll come scratching at the door.
Well, I was going to say, you look groomed tonight.
Oh, I have no hair. It's gone.
Good for you.
Gonzo. I got my hair cut. What's it called? The place where you go, the really cheap place to get your hair cut? I forget what it's called.
First Choice, Supercuts. Yeah.
I went there. I went to First Choice. They put out a memo to all the single women around Gananoque and Kingston that I got my hair cut. I had such a snicker with the ladies in there. They're just priceless.
Well,
hey,
dude,
speaking of women, it's Women's Day.
It is.
Isn't that awesome?
And before we go any further, I want to thank Dawn Shaw for putting this together. She has a friend of hers that does this kind of stuff. And as soon as we were talking about it, I don't know how many episodes back, she took it upon herself to do this. So Dawn, Steve, thanks so much, the Shaw family.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. That's awesome.
I will make sure I don't sweat too much in it, and I'll have it washed and pressed for our good buddy Jim the next time I see him.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Right
People don't realize, like, because I've been so fortunate with fishing and everything, you get some notoriety, whatever, people look up to you. A lot of people think that after a gazillion years, I don't appreciate things like this. I'm excited.
There you go.
I'm excited. It really is. I've never taken anything for granted. That's why when I get stopped in a parking lot by a kid and I talk to him for 15 minutes and the parents are pulling on his arm, and I'm telling him it's okay. Don't worry about it. If he wants to talk about fishing, we'll talk about fishing. It's what it is. The worst ever one day, I'm at the Toronto Sportsman Show, and I'm standing there, and these two kids were getting an autograph from me on the cards, and this kid's standing there, and he's a cocky-looking little bugger, right? And he's all business. Good-looking young kid, like savagely handsome young boy, probably about 15, just a good-looking young kid, eh? And he's with the family and everything, and he looks at me and he says to me, "What team do you play for?" I said, "I don't play for any team. I'm a fisherman." He goes, and he just walks away. Not because I was big, I was a football player, or whatever, right?
Well, listen, I'll be honest with you. If you're a youngster meeting you for the first time, and I've seen it firsthand at some of the shows, you can be, just based on your size, an intimidating fellow. But what you did, or at least when you could, right up until the very end, when bending down was a little bit more difficult, what you did was something that I paid attention to right away. You got down to their level. You always knelt down or sat down, but you always got down to their level. You've never spoken down to people unless
with kids, especially if you get eye to eye with them at the same height.
Yeah.
And then you don't realize, like I always say to Tammy, I don't realize these things because I'm not used to walking up to somebody and going like this.
Yeah.
And when I do,
I was going to ask you. Now that you're on that subject, has there been anybody that you've had to look up to?
Oh, course.
Yeah.
You. I look up to
Oh,
you.
stop. What was I standing on?
Give me a towel, honey.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I definitely need. I said I was going to try and keep this clean this shirt for you, but I don't know. You keep this
See all
up.
salt stains around the neck from Scotty Fries.
Yeah, you know me
Oh
too
my God.
well, Jim. You know me too well. But yes, absolutely. On the topic of ladies and women anglers and what they do for our industry, our communities, how to further our passion. We've had some timely and namely individuals on with Yvonne, and I'll tell you, every time we share some of their content, Barb Carey is one. We shared that, and it got I don't know how many comments. It got shared. Like, it was just, you can tell right away that there are women in this industry that the women truly respect for everything they do, and Barb and Yvonne are two names for sure.
And you know what? A lot of it is these women are out there doing all this, and the only thing that they're missing is the notoriety. They have all the skills, they have the tools. They love to talk to people. They just ooze it, and just, like, you have to get to be known, and that's a really slow process. It's a really slow process. It takes a long time. Forget all the other things that women are attempting to do and doing in the world. I just think it's so cool in our community how well women are doing now. You and I go back a long way talking about this. I know you bring it up often, and like, one of my favorite things in the world is going over, because I only live about half an hour away from where Yvonne has her school, and going over there and talk to the ladies. Yeah, we joke. I say, geez, I'm going to spend the afternoon with 20 hot fishing chicks, and all the joking and the carousing around and everything. It's like, it's all fun. But when I go over there and do that, I get excited about it. I really like doing it. It's fun, It's a really cool, and they want to learn.
You're right. And you know what? For maybe I speak on behalf of myself. We have a lot to learn from them. Like, I mean, Alicia, who I met through OFC and one of their events, I was really taken back by how much fishing knowledge that she has. And she comes across as a very easygoing, bubbly kind of gal. You wouldn't expect her, I guess, at first look to be that knowledgeable when it comes to fishing. No offense, Alicia, but you just seem like an everyday kind of gal. And then you see in her a boat holding rods and making casts and hooking fish. And I believe the one event that I had the luxury of being a part of, she won. So there are a lot of women out there that they could teach a guy a thing or two.
No, it's 100% true. And anybody that says it isn't like that is just dreaming, or else they hate women or something. I don't know, but it's what it is. They have to be part of what we do in fishing, because they're like they're there. They're the wives. They're the girlfriends when a guy wants to go to a sportsman show. And this is how a lot of these things, I'm sure, I know several guys that are young guys, and they've got girlfriends. They're 20, 23, and they get a girlfriend. And like, she doesn't want to touch a worm. And then the next year you see them, she's rolling him out of bed, complaining on Facebook that he's late to hit the lake, And when you see, like, I know a couple of girls, one of the greatest days ever was for me when I saw a young girl by the name of Cara Carmichael.
Oh, yes.
I've got Cara doing seminars at the Ottawa show, which I missed again this year. But it's just so cool. And she talked about picking up her boat and going fishing for the day. Not going with somebody. She's picking up her bass boat. I think it's a Triton she has. She picks up her boat out of her lane. She drives it to the lake. She launches it, probably faster than I can now. She launches it. That's a pitiful thing to watch. Like, there's definitely something wrong up here from the chemo. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I lost my backwards ability after that. I told you about this.
Yeah.
My brain does not want to work to go backwards anymore. It's a hard time. But anyways, I mean, and she posts that she's out fishing alone, and a lot of guys, like, they look at that and they go, "Well, a chick with a bass boat out fishing alone." that can't be right. It must just be one day or something. No, there's women out there now doing this stuff. It's what they do, It's what they do, and I see it so much on social media with the young girlfriend with the young boy.
Yeah,
it's they get them interested in fishing, and once they get a chance to do it, and they go out in a proper boat. They're not out with 3 other guys drunk in a boat or something. You know what I'm saying? It's a different thing, and it just really, really means so much.
Keith Duster's saying he'll back your boat up anytime, Jim. But you're so right. I had the pleasure of being up with our provincial ambassadors to our north, Sebastian and Christelle, and I talked a lot to Christelle over social media and over time, and we had managed to put together a trip up to Fushimi, and I tell you, it was a trip.
Did you say sashimi?
Fushimi, yes, up in Hearst.
Oh.
And
not the fish stuff. Okay.
No, not sushimi. No, it's fushimi. But I'll tell you, the fishing up there on that body of water is like going to an all-you-can-eat sushi place. It's incredible.
I can get a bite there.
You might be able to outfish just about all of us, Jim. Yes, absolutely. Not a lot of bass there, so I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, we're up there and. Sebastian is explaining to Christelle which launch, whatever, and I'm standing back going, what? This is incredible. But backed it in, no problem. Pulled it back out. When we got to the cabin, we had an incredible chili, a dinner that was incredible chili, all the fixings. And I just said to Sebastian, I said, buddy, here is a nickel worth of advice. Do not let that go. Do not let that go. She is just an incredible gal. And I was, as you said, it's not often you see ladies backing boats up, but I know Alicia will do it. As you've mentioned, others will do it. I was taken aback by Christelle, who I swear does a better job than myself. But yeah.
Tammy used to back the boat down when we used to go fishing to get photos. And she said to me one day, well, it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
And absolutely. She did it. You know what I'm saying? She had backed up some small trailers and stuff before. And hey, try backing up a skidoo trailer, a little short trailer.
Yep.
Like every 1/16 of an inch on the wheel is 6 feet at the back. It's easier when you're backing something that the wheels are further away from you than a little skidoo trailer or something. It's really, really easy to do. I was shocked the first time I tried that. I had a buddy of mine trying to back a little travel trailer with gravel on it, and he said, "Here, you back a boat down, do it." It was like watching the Family Guy at the boat launch. and the thing is, said to him, I can't see it. Put the tailgate on the truck down. I yelled to him, "Put that tailgate down," so I could see the trailer. So I just looked over my shoulder and right down we went, but exactly. Trying to back it down using the mirrors when you can't see it and it's not there. It was so funny.
Well, and I don't want to sound surprised, and I hope the ladies that are listening, like I don't want to sound like shocked, like, oh, she knows how to back up a trailer. I'm just it's more of a pat on the back, like, good on you, because let's face it, Jim, you've been around longer than us, and you've seen the evolution of how this industry has now welcomed ladies in. It's not to say that we didn't before. It just wasn't the norm, right? Having ladies involved.
They realized what it was all about.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. It's great. Whether you it's completely different for a person like me, the way I do it and the way I did it. Me sitting in a chair out the back now, it's still hugely competitive for me against the fish. I never treated anybody else as a competitor because there's nothing I could do to affect them. There's nothing. If I beat the fish, that was the best I could do. Whatever I came with, I had. Often I did really, really well, as you know, and it just, it's a hoot. Like, I got a new chair for down the back, by the way. Did you see Tammy's post yesterday about the pots?
No, I didn't see it. No,
she wanted these pots. She's been watching for them to go on sale. So our anniversary was a couple of weeks back, or 2 weeks, or whatever it was. And, hope she's not watching. No,
and I was going to get to that, Jim. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, get the exacto out. But we went over to Canadian Tire. I forget what she was getting. She was getting something at Canadian Tire, and she texted me out. And she said, "The pots are on sale. The pots are on sale." And I said, "Well, buy them." And she says, "We get a free frying pan if we buy them now too." I think it's called Rock Cookware or something. Everybody has ranted on the post about how good these pots are. A guy that's a chef in Toronto, I don't even know. He phoned here to the office and left a message and said, "Your wife won't regret purchasing those pots." It's a chef in some Fandango restaurant. So we got the pots, and out front they got all the lawn chairs out because sun's shining, the snow's gone in front of Canadian Tire. So they got all, the way they always put the stacks of the lawn chairs out in the front. Well, there's a big chair sitting out there, and do I still have? I don't know where it went. Isn't that terrible when you had something an hour ago and you can't find it? I got too much stuff here.
Yeah.
And there's a big stack of lawn chairs sitting there, like the brown ones and green and whatever. And it says on them, first ever guaranteed 350-pound lawn chair. So they're not going to break when you set the hook. So I got one, and I got it, and I took it, and I've got it all deckled up this year. I've got Shimano stickers all over the
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a big joke, but she came out with a chair. It was just priceless. She grabbed the pots, and then she went back, and I said, "What are you going back for?" Because I got gas. I got gas at the gas bar while she was in getting her pots. Yeah. And I just spun back down the front of the lot when she was coming out with the pots, and she went back in, and here she comes out with a chair over her head.
Unreal. Well, speaking on that, Jim, congratulations to both you and Tammy for lasting as long as you have. Because let's face it, it's not every day that you hear a couple surpass the 40-year mark, and I believe you guys are on what year?
38.
Okay. I thought it was like 42, but
no, 38. It's exactly the same as Shimano.
Incredible.
Yeah, what's the odds of that? The two most important things in your life.
Well said, buddy. Well played.
And you got them both at the same time.
When you're done with the how-to book, pass it on to a guy who needs all the help.
I did a couple of years ago on Facebook. I did some tips from a well-seasoned gentleman. And my first tip was, if you want to get out of washing the laundry for the next 30 years, just wash all the kids' woolen sweaters together in hot water. And they come out ready to fit a baby, and you're not allowed to do the laundry again. And by the way, I do my own laundry, and yes. I vacuum. Vacuuming is my job.
There you go.
Hey, it's cool. You know what I found today? I was in a box, and I found these. A whole bunch of them. They're the original prototypes of the live target sunfish.
No way.
Isn't
now, how
cool?
old would that be? How many years back does that go, Jim?
Well, these were the first ones that they ever had, and I found them in a box in the garage. So I could give one of them a chuck out the back there this summer.
Nice.
It'd be fun. Been making lots of jigs this week.
I see that. Yes.
Been working on the big musky jigs.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
have you had any takers on that? Have you got any takers on? Are people buying that now?
I haven't put any up for sale yet, but Pete Bossum, and the president of Muskies Canada, he put up a few, and he sold them right away.
Nice.
So we're sort of in a little bit of a business together, making these. I mean, it's not going to be thousands like the other jigs,
right?
But I'm working on the order for VJs at Rice Lake now.
Beautiful. And you know what? And to that, like I was talking to a tackle producer, not huge tackle producers, a smaller gent, much like yourself, putting plastics and beads and all kinds of stuff together. And this is the niche that you have targeted, because you've been able to get your supply to the smaller shops, whereas some of the other.
I'm fortunate. I mean, I got 4 or 5 of the biggest stores that there is.
You've taken advantage of it, and I commend you guys because it was an opportunity that had opened up because you couldn't get supply. That's been the biggest issue this past year is that there's no supply, but the demand is going through the roof.
Yeah, well, like I always say, it's the hobby that became a pain in the butt, but it's a good pain. It uses up a lot of my spare time. I used to call it beer money. Well, it's just pay the mortgage money lately. That's what it is. Yeah. But that's why I just can't wait to get back to being able to do shows and promotions and stuff like that.
Amen. So but good on you and all of you. I would say garage, basement, tackle producers. You've taken the bull by the horns and an opportunity that has been presented to you with the big suppliers not having the supply, but the demand is huge, and you're being able to service the smaller tackle shops. And something that really blows my mind, Scotty, is lately I've got on a lot of the groups in the U.S. that are for small lure builders and that. And some of these guys in the States, they're buying lead 1,000 pounds at a time. Wow.
And yet they're cottage, industry type guys. And they're buying lead at 1,000 pounds at a time. Wow. And it just goes to show you, how many jig heads and spinnerbaits and chatterbaits and flipping jigs and a lot of these guys are saltwater guys. They make jigs that are like 36 ounces. They make a jig that weighs like pounds. Like they have pound and a quarter, pound and a half, and they're 2 pounds, whatever. It's just amazing. I think one of the guys I saw the other day has a mold. He makes 42-ounce jigs. So one jig that weighs 42 ounces. Like I have one. Yeah. So this was something that Kalen's used to make years ago. And this is 16 ounces. Okay. Like you can see the 16 right on it.
Yeah.
It weighs 16 ounces. There's another giant one around here. I don't know where it went. It's even bigger. I think it's 24. But they made these, and when they're fishing in the ocean and they want to go down 100 feet with a 100-pound test line for a halibut or whatever the heck they fish for, big bottom fish and everything. But I've always kept that. I just thought that it was kind of cool. It's always hanging on my bench. But these guys are making ones that are like 3 and 4 times the size of that.
Yeah.
And it just makes you wonder, like, jeez, you drop that on the bottom, the fish know it's there.
No kidding. And hopefully you don't hook up because, as I said, with that kind of weight, you got a pretty good chance of getting snagged. But it is what it is, and thank God there's all these tackle producers out there producing this kind of stuff. Adele, your comment sums it up. You're 100% right. I don't have a lot of knowledge, but I have a lot of passion and enthusiasm. Abso-friggin-lutely you do, girlfriend. But that doesn't necessarily mean it makes you a bad angler.
Nope. There was a point when I didn't know what I was doing as a kid.
Absolutely. Abso-friggin-lutely.
I had no concept. It's all a learning curve and what you choose to make out of it. Because there's a few women here that I know on social media, and they're like bent on fishing. I mean, like they are bent on it. They are like, wow. They're like I was when I was younger. They're just that, like you wake up and let's go. I don't have anything to do today. The dog could be starving. The grass could be a foot long on the front lawn. The boyfriend's calling. I don't care. I'm going fishing.
Yeah.
You want to come fishing, and it's good. It's cool to see. Because I'll tell you the truth. I was getting sick of listening to the guys whine. Women never whine when they go fishing. I've never seen a woman lose a fish and throw a temper tantrum. I don't know. Maybe it happens, but I've never seen it happen.
I have not either. That's a really incredible point you bring up.
Yep.
That is a really incredible point you bring up. Yeah, very not often can I say that I've had the displeasure of fishing with anybody, because everybody I've fished with has been a great experience. But you're 100% right. Now that I think back, I've never had a woman in the boat that complained, but I've had a few.
I had a lady throw a Stella and a V-rod out of the boat.
By purpose or by accident?
And she asked me, she said, how much did that cost? I said, well, it's what it's worth. It's probably about $1,200, $1,300, eh? And this was when LeBaron was around. They used to have a fishing day for their employees. They'd have a couple. They'd have one for the Quebec stores, one for Eastern Ontario here, and they usually brought the store from Ottawa. They'd bring some of the employees up to Aurelia, and they always had it at Aurelia at Coots. And there was one of the ladies who was a head cashier at one of the stores, and it was just priceless. Just zoom out of the boat, the look on her face.
I can imagine.
And I said to her, that was a Stella. So she knew from working in the store. You could just see it click run in her head, eh? And she was like, yeah, we got it back. Took me about 5 minutes to get it back.
Oh, good. Oh,
yeah,
good.
I threw a marker buoy on it. You know the marker buoys before we had Jigs?
Yeah.
First thing I did, she asked me, what did you do that for? I said, well, I'd like to try and get that one back.
Well, listen, Adele has a question, and I'll pose it to you. She's definitely not looking for a Stella. She said, what is the best starter rod and reel you can recommend for a first-time angler? Oh, Jim's gone into circle mode. Hopefully that is not all of us. We just lost you, Jim. Hopefully he's able to come back. Adele, a good starter from Shimano. Really, to be honest with you, it depends on what you want to spend. Sometimes you can spend an awful lot, and sometimes you don't have to spend that much. If you are like me, or like I was, a Canadian Tire flyer buyer, by all means, no, Jim is not going to be returning. Unfortunately, he is done. So you can go to your Canadian Tire and look for the sales. But if you want a great starter from Shimano, as I said, the SLX, it's not necessarily entry level, but it is definitely affordable enough to get the kind of technology that Shimano is known for at a reasonable price. And their SLX combos are incredible. We're also going to be featuring with the CFN Fish Off a new line that Shimano is going to be coming out with, which I think will really speak to an angler such as yourself. So stay tuned to that. But there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to win some combos, hopefully going forward with the CFN Fish Off this spring. Anyway, sorry, Jim. Not sure what happened with your internet, but we thank you for stopping by. Nonetheless, we're going to bring in our good friend Lawrence Gunther, but he wants me to play a video first. So have a look at this. This is actually pretty cool.
I think people need to know. People need to know what's going on. People just don't have enough information, and I want to see it. I want to see it firsthand myself. I think that could really help the situation in terms of creating a deeper understanding of what we're up against here and what we need to do.
Most of the destruction to the environment is under the water.
I think anything, you can't see them and you don't know they're there, then you don't really care about them.
The fish is the silent majorities. It doesn't say a word. It never complains.
And I believe strongly in local knowledge.
We grew up fishing for 3 days a week. We haven't done that for 40 years.
And those are the people I want to talk to, and I want to be a voice for them.
There's a lot of young people now that's had to move away because there's no work here. And years ago, when we had our ground fishery, our lobster fishery and everything that was strong.
I don't want to be a lone voice. I want to speak on behalf of the people who are being affected directly. The people who make a living from the water, who depend on the water for their food, for their livelihood. I want to help get their voice out to whoever, to the public. And the public can then, in turn, will put pressure on the politicians to put pressure on the industry to do it differently, to do it better.
Lawrence, how are you this evening? Unfortunately, we have no sound on you. It looks like you've muted yourself. Sorry, guys, for all the technical. There
it is. Sorry,
now,
man.
Now I hear you. Now I hear you. Listen, I want to introduce you. If people don't know who you are a longtime CFN live segment holder, and you do some great work for Bluefish Canada as well as Bluefish Radio, your Feel the Bite segment, and Lawrence Gunther Outdoors. You are a visually impaired angler.
Totally.
And I will say this, based on watching that video and you getting in the kayak, you don't look visually impaired to me. You look like a seasoned kayaker. So I tip my hat to you on that. But tell us what the video is all about, my friend. You can really sense the passion and intensity in your voice. Tell us a little bit about what that video represents.
So I wanted to make a documentary of stories from across Canada of, significant issues impacting the way we fish, the fish we fish for, and the water that the fish live in, right? Because really, those three things go hand in hand in hand. It's called one health. If we're healthy, we need good quality fish to fish and eat. And if for the fish to be healthy, they need good quality water and habitat to live in. And we need to make sure that that water and habitat is in good shape if we're going to get the fish to be healthy ourselves. So it's all connected, right? Now there's these relationships are breaking down in different parts of Canada for different reasons. And, most of them are well portrayed in the media. We've heard of them. We've heard what the scientists have to say. We've heard the environmentalists. We've heard the politicians, and we've heard the business leaders. But what we didn't hear were the people who live by the water, who live from the water. People don't necessarily have social media or internet accounts or big followings, but have a lot of local knowledge. And those are the people I wanted to meet and help them get their voice out.
Fantastic. It looks very cool. It's airing in April. Jeanette is looking for the exact date. When is the exact date of this airing?
April 15th. It's going to be a Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday
night. Right on. Christina has a great question here. Lawrence Gunther, out of curiosity, when you get into your kayak to go fishing, like you did in the video, which appeared not to have a fish finder or GPS to where you launch, how do you know where to go back to when it's time to get off the water as a visually impaired angler?
I usually make a little waypoint. I have a little GPS system, so I create a waypoint when I leave, and then I can just go off. And this lake I was fishing on, it was called Hideaway Lake, and it's not big, so I can just basically kayak the whole thing, crisscross it, circle it, and then when I need to go back, I just pull out my GPS and say, bring me back to the waypoint, and then it gives me directions as the crow flies, like 222 meters, 2 o'clock. So I just shift a little bit to the right, keep paddling, and every 10 seconds, it calls out the distance and the clock setting that I should steer for. 12 o'clock is straight ahead, 11 o'clock a little left, and gets me back there eventually. But GPS is amazing, I'll tell you.
I can only imagine, and without it, were you someone like, I'm just thinking aloud because I really don't. I take it for granted. I'll be quite honest with you. I take my vision for granted, and when I think of you, I'm reminded of how I shouldn't. Do you feel the sun on your face to know, that obviously the sun sets in the west? That did you have to use that to gauge where you were and how to get back to your original location back in the day?
You know what? It's funny. I have all these technologies, GPS, talking compasses, sonar beepers, talking depth sounders, things I put on the front of my kayak and my little boat to let me know if anything's in front of me. And for the most part, though, I just do it the way they did it for thousands of years, right? If you can feel the sun on your face, you know where the sun is, that's in the west or the east, depending on the time of day. You feel the wind, the wind's coming out of the west. It's pretty steady all day. Just keep that wind, that'll keep you oriented. Or, the waves, even if there's no sun and there's just waves, the waves are usually pretty steady, and they're always moving the same way across the lake. Then there's the sound from the land, like just the wind in the trees and the birds in the trees. So that's always gives me an idea where the land is, how close I am to land. And when I'm casting close to something, just the echo of my lure landing in the water, if it echoes back really mute in a muted way, I know I'm right next to the weeds, right next to the bulrushes and things like that. So there's always these indicators, and even like another boat going by, that's always my big one, because when a boat goes by, I hear the motor, and so I know, okay, it's coming from that direction, it's going in that direction. Then I listen to the waves, right, the wake, and when the wake rolls up on the shore on each side, I have a total idea of the length of the lake based on where that boat came and went to. And then based on the sound and how long it took the sound of those waves to roll up on the shore, I know how wide the lake is where I am. It's like, you see the lightning and then you hear it, you count, right? It's the same thing with the wake. So it really, just one motorboat paints a beautiful picture where I am in my mind.
Now, I never thought about this until right now, but as you spoke about it, as a boater, we see kayakers, we see canoeists, we see people in sailboats, and certain rules and regulations permit us to have to give them the right of way. Is there any way you identify yourself as a visually impaired angler on the water?
On my boat, I have the words blind fishing boat, right? And it's written on the side. And that's sort of helpful, I think, when people see me go by and the boat's beeping and chirping, or they just come over to me, they see the word blind fishing boat, and they right away they watch a little bit, and then they realize, okay, the guy's blind, right? so I don't have it on the kayak though. I don't bother. When I put my kayak in the water, there's not normally people around. I have done some tournaments on different rivers where there's lots of boat traffic, and I'm not a big fan of being in a kayak where there's lots of boat traffic. There's always the wakes to contend with, and it's just it's a little stressful. When I get in my kayak, it's to go on bodies of water where there's not normally boats. And then I've got it's just that whole peace and tranquility and just being so close to the water, right? You're really almost sitting at water level. Your butts are right at water level, and you just touch it all the time with your hand. It's a real sense of being in connection with the water in a kayak. I love it.
Dude, incredible. I'm just like all of our CFNers listening to you right now describe this. I know we got a little bit away from the subject at hand when we talked about when it comes to the video, but I was just taken aback, as I'm sure all you CFNers that watch this, watched him get in the kayak. Like, dude, you put that together, like you saw everything. You knew, I don't know. I was just blown away. I'm thinking, this guy has a visual impairment, yet he climbed in that kayak, paddled out like he knew exactly where he was going, exactly what he was doing, and like you had no disability at all. But inspiring, to say the least.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't be the first time plastic. This rotomold plastic is pretty tough, so I can bang it into things. It's almost like my probe, right? The front of my kayak. I touch things with it all the time. But you know what? I don't care. It's the way I fish, right? I go in, I move out, I'm moving around. It's the way and I'm always searching with my rod. My rod really and my lure, especially spinnerbaits, you can throw them anywhere and they always come back. They're virtually snagless, right?
Yes, true. That's a good point. It's something you don't, as I said, like we just take this stuff for granted as regular able-seeing anglers. How far we want to be from structure, maybe the shore, a dock. We position ourselves, and I can't imagine what you have to go through to make that perfect cast towards a dock, towards a rock, towards something that, again, like I keep saying,
I don't flip a lot of docks. If I'm fishing around docks, it's usually with a Senko Wacky, but I don't flip a lot of docks just because I don't want to leave a lure behind or hit someone's boat or something. But I tell you, Scotty, when I was introduced to the spinnerbait for the first time, I was out with this guy, and we were in this little back bay off the Bay of Quint, and it's just covered in lily pads and everything everywhere. And he goes, "Here, try this." And I said, "I've never had a spinnerbait." I said, "What is that?" And he goes, "It's a spinnerbait. You can cast it anywhere and it won't get snagged." And I said, "No way." And he said, yeah, try it. And I started, and I almost cried, man. I was so happy to have a bait that I could fish around weeds and stuff that would not get hung up, right? Like that was just a perfect search bait for me around structure to learn and feel before I put out the other lures I like to use, like crankbaits or whatever it is. So yeah, it was a big, little things like that can make a huge difference in someone's life for the strangest reasons.
Just because of what you just said, I am going to look at spinnerbaits like I've never looked at spinnerbaits before. Sometimes I look past spinnerbaits. I'm going to devote at least 20 to a half an hour of fishing on my boat with spinnerbaits, just to tribute you and salute you, my friend. My Lord, that's an incredible story. But getting away from the video and the topic at hand, so what you're going to be dealing with what lays beneath is how many communities are you going to discuss? What is your approach on some of the subjects that you're going to discuss, and what are you hoping to gain by the end of it all?
I think it's just the passion of the people, the angler, the fisher, the people who just care about the environment as much as anyone could ever care about their place, right? Their fishing hole. I mean, it's something we don't hear enough about. We hear a lot of talk about catching fish and what lures to use and all that stuff. And that's great. I mean, I love tech and fishing equipment and talking baits and stuff and making things and, sorting stuff out just as much as the next guy. But, at some point we also have to, like I said, take some responsibility and speak truth to power, get a little active, and do what we need to do to make sure it's going to be around for the future generations. I think there's so many of us that have grown up by water, who have been introduced by water by mentors, and then we've claimed it and we've passed it on to the next generation. We all do that, and we don't even think about it, right? We don't even think of this as culture, as heritage, as a tradition, but it's something we've been doing for thousands and thousands of years. Fishing, it's maybe the second oldest activity on the earth. But
you're right. I would say it's probably definitely one of the longest standing activities that we have enjoyed here on this earth, and fishing is definitely one of that is really cool. Obviously you go to some of our coastal communities. I noticed we're on the East Coast.
West, north, up into the Arctic, with what's going on up there. And I was really lucky. I had a friend that I met when I was doing a public service announcement, filming a public service announcement for a guide dog school in Quebec, the Mira Foundation. It was for CBC television, and they asked me to come down and film this, and I said I would. And I was amazed by the film crew. There must have been 100 people there involved with that filming, and I said, "Wow, this is huge." And then the executive producer came over and introduced himself, Alex Leeman, and that was back in 1998. And we became good friends. And this is a guy that's the head of one of the largest film production studios in Quebec. And we just stayed in contact. And it was years later, we just became friends. Our wives are friends. And he was at our wedding, and we were just yapping, having a glass of scotch, in between goofing around, dancing and stuff like that. It was in my dad's backyard. And he had a great backyard for this. But he said, "Lawrence, what are you up to?" And I said, "Hey," I said, "I want to pick your brain because I have this idea and I don't know where to turn to." I wasn't thinking of him, but I'm thinking he might know someone, right? Yeah. And he said, "What is it?" I just gave him that 30-second little pitch, and he goes, "Wow." He said, "Let's talk about this at breakfast tomorrow." I said, "Okay." So the four of us got together for breakfast. We were planning on it anyways. And I just rolled out the idea to him a little bit, thinking still maybe he might know somebody. And he just said, he goes, "I want to do this. I want to do this with you. Wow. I want to do." So he just basically gave me carte blanche to research it, put the ideas together. He got the director involved. We all agreed that none of us would make a penny, and that any money we made from this film would go into the charity. And they came up with the idea of creating Bluefish Canada at the time. So that any revenues went into that, and it does, and it still does. So none of us ever made any money on this, but it went on to feature on CBC documentary channel for 3 years, on AMI TV for 2 years. It was in film festivals for a year. Before that, it was featured at the Rogers Hot Docs Theatre in Toronto as the feature film for the Planet and Focus Film Festival. And so, here's a movie about fishing, right? And featuring people who fish at an environmental film festival. And it just happened. Like a lot of environmental film festivals love this movie because, It's about anglers and fishers who care about the environment, right? It's not all environmentalists care about anglers, but I think it started that idea that, hey, we're just as passionate as the next person. You don't have to be wearing, hemp clothing and, to care about the water and the fish in it. You can,
and you're right. It's very stereotypical. But I'm definitely seeing more and more of a movement, especially here on CFN and throughout our community, when it comes to the conservation of fish, the conservation of our environment, and definitely water is at the paramount of all of this. Because as I said, if we don't have clean water, never mind fishing, we're not going to live very long. So yeah, it is definitely important. The fish are the parakeets in the mine, if you will, as a metaphorically speaking. But needless to say, we have the fish farms out west that have done terrible things to the sea bottom. We are nutrient loading the heck out of our Great Lakes, and we pollute our oceans continuously, and each and every day we see videos on top of videos of how in some countries, third world maybe, I don't want to classify, but they literally just dump raw garbage into the river, especially in the high water season. No wonder we have these islands of garbage out in the middle of our oceans. Like there's no wonder, but we need to do our part to set the standard for how the rest of the world is supposed to comply. And I'll be honest with you, we are because there are so many people on this planet, we need to start now. And, our infrastructure needs upgrading and what have you. And I'm sure in your video, you speak to all that.
We cover the big issues for sure. And we talk to the people that are being impacted by these big issues. So that, I think, I just wanted to get these bigger issues grounded and put it in the mouths of people who can speak it plainly in real terms of what it means to them and to their environment and their fish. And over the next few days or a few weeks, Scotty, I'll bring some very short clips and we can talk a little bit about some of the stories and get into them. I'll introduce them as we get closer. There's 10 main stories. The big question was, why me, right? Why me? Why am I doing this documentary? I mean, I know I have my master's in environmental studies. I've been pursuing this stuff, these topics and these ideas for years, but why me? And there's that, that's the title, right? What lies below, out of sight, out of mind. We just don't think about it. We don't think about it because we don't see it. So my job is to get people to visualize it. We did almost no underwater camera work, and I said, "Well, no, we don't need to do underwater camera work. That's my job. I'll tell what's going on now. I'll get people to talk about it. And that's enough. We didn't need to do the Jacques Cousteau thing."
You're absolutely right. But listen, let's make it very simple because Bill, he made a very good statement here. Conservation is the future of our sport. Take care of it or lose it, 100%. Because I got to tell you, all of the CFNers that are watching now and watching later at some point, you are all oozing with passion. Your passion for angling, we see, and it just rings loud and clear. We see it all the time. Can you imagine having this same passion if the lakes, the streams, the water bodies that you were going to fish, you could no longer eat the fish because they're so polluted. You couldn't enjoy the fish because the water smelt so bad. Everywhere you looked, there was floating garbage. Like, just think about that. Our passion for angling is getting out in the outdoors. No different now than any other time of the year, especially when we have the winter thaw about to happen with the onset with spring and the warmer weather. We are all jonesing to get on the boat. We're all jonesing to get to the river's edge and cast a line, wet a line, and target fish that truly further our passion than it already is. But can you imagine not being able to do that because our bodies of water are so polluted?
Yeah, well put, Scotty.
Kind of kills the spirit.
Yeah. No,
Alicia said I'd be crushed. Absolutely. So, as I said, it's on us. We are great stewards when it comes to the health of our fish, protecting our fish, and just general fish care. But I think perhaps maybe we need to take it one step further and question, as Barry Nash comes in, do we speak to the phosphate loading of the Great Lakes? Absolutely. And in your video, you do as well, if I'm not mistaken, correct, Lawrence?
Which what we talk about a lot of issues. We couldn't cover everything, and and things come in and out of reality. Look, there's things that have happened in the last 4 or 5 years, right? That I wish I could go back and capture those things that now, because they're big issues, like PFAS chemicals, right? From Scotch Guard and fire retardant, and how that's a forever chemical now in our Great Lakes. And you look at what's going on in the States, a lot of the states that are along the Great Lakes, and how they're having to put in zero consumption advisories for the fish in certain areas because of the PFAS load in these fish. This is like mercury. This is PSB. This is all over again. Another forever chemical being loaded into the water here, and we're drinking it. And we're eating fish, and this is a huge problem. We don't talk about it nearly enough in Ontario. This is the new one. This is the new mercury, and there's others. There's others out there. So I mean, I chair the Fish Health Great Lakes Committee Network, and we have all sorts of great scientists on that, and we're linking up with other water quality experts and raising this issue as much as possible, and I'm trying to get an understanding of it. But it's a work in progress, and we need to get on top of that for sure.
Absolutely. And, right here in Ontario, Mike Howard, you bring up a great subject that is quite interesting, that they had to come up with this. And they've been doing EA studies, if I'm not mistaken, since the 80s when it comes to Hamilton Harbor. And they have deemed that they have to cap it, because if they were to try and remove all the sediment, and I don't know how many inches or feet of sludge it is at the bottom of Hamilton Harbor, but if they were to start to disrupt that with the currents and wind direction, the amount of that effluent and hazardous material that would float out into the lake would just cause just unimaginable damage to our and of course our water, never mind the fish, but the water in general. So yes, the fact that they're going to be capping that is absolutely remarkable. And Victoria, Diane, well, we spoke in great length with Tasha and of course Lawrence, who dove headfirst into the subject when it comes to coal mining in the mountains in Alberta. We've had some great updates. Lawrence has shared them with us, and there's definitely making some headway in regards to
not as much as we hope. Not as much as we hope. Turns out the definition of mountaintop mining used by Alberta now is not the same definition that the mining companies are using. The Alberta decided that if there's still 1/10 or 10% of the mountaintop left, it's not considered mountaintop mining. And versus the mining companies have just testified here in Ottawa that they take off, most of the mountaintop as they're going up the side of the mountain to remove the coal. And that's what they're going to do in Alberta. They've got the rights, they've got the leases, they're just getting the final permits now to move forward. And Alberta's going to let it happen on the 200,000 acres that they've leased out, but they're not calling it mountaintop mining in pristine water because there's still like I said, 10% of the mountaintop left.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they're playing with the words. They're playing with the words, and they're trying to get around this.
Well, it always seems to be the way, especially when it has to do with our beloved politicians. They always seem to find a way to cater to big business, but enough of us speak up, enough of us demand change. It's amazing what things happen, especially when good people, strong people in numbers comes together. We can make a difference.
We won't forget. We won't forget. We won't let this go. We'll keep going, and there's a lot of good people that aren't going to forget and let this go. So it's not done. It's not done. Yeah.
Good. Well, at least there's hope. Barry Nash, I lived to see Lake Erie die in the 50s. I saw it respond when phosphates were banned in detergents, but yet it's happening again. Barry, welcome to the show. And if you lived in the 50s and were able to see that, you saw exactly what unfortunately we hope never happens again to any of the Great Lakes, especially Lake Erie, because of how it's a fish factory, that body of water. But yes, it is a concern. That blue-green algae, Lawrence, is coming back, and of course how toxic it is. And as Jason has mentioned, it may be having some effect on the reproduction of perch. So,
in 1980, Lake Erie was considered a dead lake.
Yeah,
it was considered a dead lake. I fished. My neighbors had a cottage down there on Turkey Point, and they went down there for years. And by 1980, you go out there with all the soft-shelled crayfish you could afford, and the only thing you might catch is an odd sheephead, but nothing else. And you know, they changed the sewage systems to get the phosphate out, and it worked. But now, you know, you got farmers using a lot of fertilizer, and the water's warmer, so it takes less phosphate to create algae. So now, you know, we had the same amount of algae after the cleanup, the same amount of phosphates, but it just takes less phosphates to create that algae because of the warmer water. So they're having to double down and do some more work to get that straightened out for sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
We've talked about it at great length, and we look forward to talking to it more. Your Feel the Bite segment.
You know what? I was reading an article about Jeff Gustafson, Gussie, and the outfit he used, and it was a 7'3" medium action spinning rod, right? Just an all-round medium action spinning rod. And they talked about this rod and all the things he uses it for, you know, jigging and wacky rigging and moping, you know, and it's just his all-round rod. And they say this is just an all-round rod. Mind you, the rod he's using is a G Loomis NRX 8'3" number 2 action. So that would be like a medium, right? And so it's not the cheapest spinning rod in the world, right, but it's the ultimate medium action spinning rod. Like if I could, you know, could take a rod with me to an island, one thing to a Pacific island, it would be that rod probably. I don't know, but it would be that rod. And he uses that Xinge 3000 reel that just came out. That's just a little toughy, and you know, salt water. Just, you know, it's got that silent drive we talked about, you know, that perfect silent drive, yeah, right? And then for line, 10-pound yellow Power Pro. Now that line he chose for 3 reasons. One is it's very thin, so he was fishing in current. So he wants to get that line down there, straight down below the boat, so he can see it on his sonar, because he's fishing in 20 feet of water, and if the current sweeps it out, he's not going to see it. So that line the water can't push on the line and make it go sideways. It has to be the thinner the line, the less push the current will have on it, and the more, you know, vertical he'll be able to keep his line. So that's a number one reason why he uses 10-pound Power Pro, not because he wants to, you know, play loose and goose with the thin lines. The other reason he goes with the yellow is so he can see the line and always keep that vertical a perspective on that line, that's straight up and down on that line with his eyes. He says if he has to strain his eyes to watch the line, by the end of the day, he's got a headache. And I'm thinking, oh, that makes sense, right? You know, you get that eye strain fatigue. So he said that yellow Power Pro just makes a big difference in his ability to watch the line and keep his read. Now, the way I do it is I just move my rod tip left, right, forward, and back, and I just feel it. Which way is it pulling now, right? Is it pulling straight down? Is it, you know, just by moving my rod to one side and forward and back, I can keep that sort of that vertical position on the line, but I'm not controlling the boat either. So it's not all up to me. I have another guy, you know, a buddy. So that's the other thing. If you're going to fish with a buddy, you guys got to be using the same lines and the same weights if you're fishing in current, because one guy's got extra weight, more weight on than you, or thinner line than you. They're going to control the boat that's perfect for them, but you're going to be all over the map. So it's really important to dial this stuff in, share the information with your buddy if you're going to go fish on current like Gussie was, and just, you know, get that sort of harmony going so that you're both doing the same thing. You're both using the same kind of gear. But I just think it's amazing that, you know, a 7'3" medium action spinning rod with a spinning reel and a jig and a piece of soft plastic, that's all it needed, right, to win that tournament.
And really a true testament of a true Canadian, because as I said, I didn't know what moping was. It's definitely something that we all do because we love our walleye and fishing for walleye. But yeah, it's done up here for bass. As I said, never knew what the term was called, but we all do it. And I don't know. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm tooting too hard of a horn, but good on Gussie to go down, in their backyard, pull out an old Canadian trick that we do on a regular basis, whether it be for walleye or bass, and school some anglers who have been on that body of water many, many years before Gussie even got there. And, to pull up the blue trophy in front of all of us. I don't know, man. There was, as I said, as a Canadian angler, and I'm not one to really watch bass tournaments, but I was glued, man, and good on you. It put a smile on all of our faces, I'll tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. He made it look, he schooled them for sure. He really schooled them to pull that off. And great angler, absolutely great angler. And just a medium action spinning rod. How good is it to have a medium action extra fast spinning rod, right? It's like, if there's one rod, that's the one you want. Medium action, extra fast, or fast, depending, but they're both good for sure.
Right on, buddy. Well, listen, thanks so much for doing this as you do every Monday. We look forward to your further segments and, of course, what lies beneath updates and different episodes and everything else that you do. But you're an inspiration, and I'll tell you, it was fun watching that video when I was downloading it, and all I could think about is only Lawrence could do it like Lawrence.
Thanks, Scotty. You too, my friend. You're my hero, buddy. You're rocking it across Canada.
Yeah, baby. You have yourself a great week, my friend. You take care of yourself and stay in touch.
Thanks, Ben.
Here is a word from Jason's sponsor before his segment.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural, man-made. Every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that is scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
J-Dog's in the house.
Scotty, how's it going?
Buddy, I tell you, you are a champ. You, Trevor, and the rest of the family. Have you taken a day off from fishing?
No, we just, so actually while I was listening to, and unfortunately we lost Jim, I actually went through, so all my photos are backed up on Google Photos. That's how I keep track of them. And then once in a while I download them. That way, in case cameras get destroyed fishing, which happens on occasion. Yeah. Our trip yesterday was trip number 21 of the year, of this year. So yeah, it's been great. I will confess, we don't catch fish every trip, so I don't have 21 great catches this year. But you know what? We've been out a lot, and with the ice conditions down here deteriorating the way they are, we decided to try and make the most of it. So just a little fishing update before we get down to business. Went out Friday night after school, did an evening fish, took out the GoPros. Trevor got his personal best black crappie Friday night, which was great. But the fishing gods, how they giveth and they taketh away from you, right?
Yep.
Good things and bad things happen. Well, in the process of landing his best crappie, which came off at the hole, and there was this whole melee, he sort of dropped his flasher on the ice pretty hard. So, but I will give a shout out to Vexlar. So if anyone out there is a fan of ice fishing for crappie, check out the video series called Crappie Chronicles. It's on YouTube, Crappie Chronicles. And there's a group of guys from the Minneapolis, Minnesota area that shot this mini series of crappie fishing. And one of the guys is Matt Waldron. Matt is a technician at Vexlar. Yeah. So I'm sitting there in the hut. I got a pretty miserable 13-year-old beside me because his flasher, his best friend, not his dad, his Vexlar is not doing well. So I took a video of the sound it was kind of making and what was going on, sent it to Matt. 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes, he texts me back. He goes, dude, it's just a loose magnet. Ship it to me, $40, the head unit, we'll get it fixed. I go, that's great, but we still got fishing to do. So, anyways, we went out Saturday with the family again. We took Heather's parents. I set up the hut for them, and they got their masks on, and we got some time with the grandkids. And then where we were fishing, my friends have a permanent hut there, and they came out and didn't even fish. They brought out their barbecue, and we had a barbecue on the ice. Trevor had a big old double cheeseburger. Well, he's got a big old double cheeseburger in one hand and a bluegill in the other, right? So that was Saturday. And then Sunday we got up not too early. Man, it's hard to chase the sun now, man. The days are getting longer.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
So I said, there's no way after 2 days ice fishing and a couple long nights that I'm going to get up to Lake Simcoe by dawn. I said, we're going to take the easy way. So we left at 6. We got up at 5:30. We got up there around 9 because for me, up to Lake Simcoe is about 2.5 hour run. Plus, I got to stop at Bill's Bait and say hi to the guys. They haven't seen them for 2 months, right? You know how that goes. So, anyways, we get up there and the fishing was real slow. Not everyone was catching. In fact, a lot of my friends who were perch fishing on the weekend said it was kind of slow. Like some guys always get them. That's fishing.
Yeah.
But most of the people I talked to got a few nice ones, but not a lot. And we only brought home, I think, 7. But Trevor got his biggest at 12.5 inches. So he knocked out two personal bests in 3 days. So he's in a good mood right now. But my tip to everybody is fish with your confidence baits. So we went to Lake Simcoe, and now perch fishing is very different. Not very different, but somewhat different than panfish. Although perch is a panfish, but I think panfish, I think bluegill, crappie, pumpkin seed.
Yeah.
And we went up there with all of our panfish gear, but we kind of swapped out some of our typical panfish lures for some slab grabbers, some little mini vibratos, these kind of things. And we were getting fish coming in on the flasher. So we're also, by the way, we're sharing a flasher now because, he's down and out. So I was teasing him all day. Like, oh, Trevor, remember when you were 5 and you'd sit beside your dad? We'd drill 2 holes side by side and we'd cuddle up beside the flasher and we would, isn't this nice? He's like, it's not nice at all, Dad. I can't run around because he likes to run around and drill holes. So anyways, we went out there. We actually, and a shout out to Alicia and TJ. They met us out there. They were in their Argo. And our good friend Daniel from Live to Fish, who's buddies with Dave Chong, he was out there too. So we had a great little meetup. But what we learned was the fish were spooky, Scotty. So when we were out there, we would mark fish. And literally, actually, Daniel noticed this when I was talking to him. He was working a fish, and I was wearing cleats because the ice was like glare ice. And as I walked with my cleats away from him, the fish on his screen disappeared, gone. Those fish were so spooky yesterday. It was unbelievable. So Trevor, his wheels start turning, and he's like, Dad, I'm going to get out one of the spring bobber rods we use for bluegill because we were getting fish coming in looking at our baits, but they wouldn't commit to our baits.
Right.
They would come in, look, and leave. So he pulled out his trusty spring bobber rod. So that's his spring bobber rod, right? Let me get there. So that's just this is just a titanium spring bobber. And so when that fish hits, that bobber just drops down.
Right.
So with the two of us working together, look, he still got the maggots on there. Isn't that gross? That's disgusting. Perfect. So anyways, all we did was we beefed up the tungsten jig to a 1/16 ounce because we're fishing at 25 feet instead of 7 to 10 feet. And all the fish but one yesterday came on this outfit. Now I think I was using a small jig and spoon, and I think that was getting their attention from distance because we would watch them on the flasher. They'd swim. I'd keep my spoon a little higher. They'd swim towards my spoon, take a look, and then the mark would go back down and then sit right by the mark where his tungsten jig was, and that's how he got his personal best perch right there. So,
congratulations, Trevor, on your 2 BBs. But to that point, I have some friends that have homes and cottages up on Lake Simcoe, and they are just blown away at the number of anglers out on the weekends. Are these fish spooked because of that? Does this have to do with it?
100%. I think that's part of the problem. I actually spoke to Will Wegman after our trip because I had to ask him that question. Because Will, I'm not a Simcoe guy. I don't go to Simcoe that often. But good friends of ours, Will, Dave Chong, and a few others, they're out there all the time. And I spoke to to Will, and Will said, yeah, he's like, all that traffic out there, everything seems spooky. If you want to get on fish, you're better to be there at sunrise. Like if you want to get on some good whitefish right now, his recommendation was to be out there at sunrise, get that morning bite, because as soon as all the vehicles, like there's trucks out there. We were watching trucks, an airplane. Dude, an airplane took off in front of us with the skis on it. We were out by Jackson's Point. Like, all kinds of traffic out there. So that's what we did actually after a while. We just moved away from everybody, which is what we usually do anyways. But it just seems like the fish are spooky, and we witnessed it on the flashers. And to think that, I have some pretty beefy cleats. I'm not going to lie. They're pretty heavy duty, and they scrape a lot of ice when you walk with them. But we watch those fish take off if I scrape my cleats on the ice,
Well, and absolutely. And I think we all know that sound magnifies as you get it into water. And of course, the ice being at the surface, it's just one big sound room. And of course, that ice contains that sound. And imagine planes, trains, and automobiles going across that ice. It's going to wake those fish up.
And people don't realize how shallow it really is. Like, even though I'm in 20, let's say, I think we were in 25 feet, that's from here to my far wall in the rec room. That's only like that. If you think about an average boat, you're talking, let's say a 16 to 18 foot boat. Well, you add a couple more feet to that, there's 20 feet. That's how deep you're fishing. Like, it's not that you're not that far from the fish. I think a lot of people don't realize how close you are to those fish. And it's not the talking. It's not the unless you're playing some serious hard beats in your ice hut, it's not the music that you're jamming to. It's the although we do like to sing Mr. Roboto when we're jigging the vibrato. If anyone likes some Styx fans out there, I know Alicia and TJ say it's their song, but we might have done a little remix to it yesterday, Trevor and I, because we were bored between all these schools of birds that weren't coming through. Anyways, it's the vibration. It's the sound of us on the ice. So ATVs, trucks, airplanes, Argos. And it was even yesterday, Alicia texted me and she goes, I think it's a parade route. Like it was just constant people. And they are moving huts yesterday too. So people are out retrieving their huts with their pickups and bringing them back in. Like there was 12 inches of ice. I'm not worried about the trucks in that area. I wouldn't drive my vehicle. That's their choice. But man, like a lot of noise out there yesterday for sure.
And, unfortunately with the warmer weather and the rain that's coming, our hope is that that ice does stick around. Although the temperatures look to be dropping the following week, so there's a little bit of good news in regards to that. But I don't know how beat up it's going to get in the next 3 days because those temperatures are going to get awfully.
Well, I have some bad news that I posted a video into the chat room. So just today, I thought Long Point Bay was done with ice, and to me, it is done with ice. Okay. Today, some guys fell through at St. Williams. OPP was on scene. They were able to do a self-rescue. I'm a little surprised people are still out at St. Williams trying to catch perch and pike. I'm a little shocked by it. Like, not totally shocked, just a little, because people do what people want to do. So it brings us back to ice safety. And I'm going to share another video from a buddy, Scott Brower. Scott's a great ice fisherman. Pro staff with Clam and a couple other companies. I usually see Scott every year at Bass Pro Shops in Vaughan. They usually do an ice fishing, like an ice fishing day. And I'll do a seminar with Scott or besides Scott. And he's just a great guy. Well, he posted a video on his Facebook page. If you're not friends with him, it may not show up, but he did a video about end of season ice safety, because what happens is, and you know this too, Scotty, the shore ice starts to chew up. Like, all the areas we've been fishing, there's still 12 inches of ice, where we are in the main, part of the lake or the bay that we're fishing. But it's the shore ice that's going to start to chew up fast. And with the rain coming, that's going to, whatever I want to say, like, multiply the impact of that warm weather. So it is.
Yeah. And the lucky thing for us down here in the south is our temperatures have gradually been coming up. And of course, we've had some sunny days. So that's taking care of the snowpack, which of course, when that's melting at the same time as we get the warmer weather and the rain, as you said, all it does is speed up that decay along the shoreline. I'm hoping we're going to weather the storm and we're going to be okay. But to your point, absolutely. I think more so now than ever, we have to get out of the mindset where we're thinking, yeah, there's 20 inches of ice out on the main lake, but it's the 100 feet that we have to now travel to get to that 20 inches. That is something that we have to take into consideration.
Yeah, and I think that it's important that people just understand that, and there's so much more things to do. Like, I'm looking forward to ice fishing being over. Funny I say that. I've ice fished so much, and I've had such a good season. There's so many things I want to catch. I want to get back to a few other things too. Like, it doesn't bother me if the ice left tomorrow. No problem. You got things to do. You got other fish to catch.
Amen.
But and I think that there's quite a big difference. Like, I try and tell people this all the time. Like, there's like a 10-degree difference in daily temperature average between where I live and Beaverton. Like, if it's 0 here, it's -10 there. So ice will be up there for a good while yet.
Amen.
The thing about Simcoe is that there's certain areas of the lake that are prone to breaking up early, and other areas that will hold ice longer. I just hope that anglers work together. Stop bashing each other, please, and just work together to give information where it's needed so that people will know where to go and where not to go. And and we all lean on some of the great ambassadors out there like John White and others who keep people informed. I never ask those guys for waypoints, but, I follow along their information all the time because I just want to know, where can I get on the ice safely? I can find my own fish. Just where can I get on safely, to make sure the day is going to be fine. So,
and to your point too, in regards to just treating everybody with respect. I was talking to Steve Shaw earlier this week, or later last week, and I think people they've got cabin fever. I think they've been stuck indoors because they're testy, and hopefully, to your point, we can get out and enjoy some softwater fishing where we can target a whole bunch of species, whether it be river angling, rainbows, you name it, walleye, opener. But yeah, absolutely, because I think people are getting.
There's some great people out there in the fishing industry, and then people in social media, and some of them are like board moderators. Yeah. And I've had a couple of requests if I be a board moderator, and you don't want me being a board moderator. There's no second chances. I would just be blocking people left and right. Like these are people I don't know, and you would never talk to me like that, like ever. And not just because I'm a big guy. You don't talk to other humans like that in a public place. Like, that's just not how I was brought up. Yeah. And that's not how we raise these guys. So it's important that just treat people with respect. Don't jump on people. I don't know. But it is cabin fever, man. And we've been harping about this for a while, and we got months to go of this yet. So, and maybe this warm weather people will start to relax a little bit. Get outside, get away from their screen. Like, I've had a few people comment that, that all they see on my, kind of jokingly, all you do is go fishing. I'm like, well, that's all I want to do. I don't share any political views. None of that stuff, and I don't read any news outlets anymore. If I want to know the news, I've said this before, I can go find the news. It's easy. It's everywhere. All I'm doing is pretty much sharing fishing content because that's all I want to share, because that's what makes me happy. And I think that's what makes a lot of my friends happy, so that's just how it rolls, man. That's it.
What you're doing is what we all try to do, which is just further the passion. It's not, look at me.
Yeah.
We celebrate in Trevor's 2 PBs. Not that, oh, Trevor, what an amazing angler he is. No, you know what? He's putting in his time, and we celebrate along with it that he does that. And as a family, watching you guys go out and enjoy what we love, which is fishing, I think is awesome. But I really
hey, in Jim's segment, he was talking about watching people get mad. You want to see someone get mad? Ask Giggles over here when he loses a big fish at a hole. It's not pleasant. Yeah. I have to be that dad and be like, hey, relax. Like, he gets really grumpy with himself. He's hard on himself because he wants to do well, and then there's days where, and again, I'll say it out there, we don't catch fish all the time, but we share our successes because we want people to I think the world needs more pictures of fish and fishermen, fisher girls. And I think that's for this community, that's what people want to see. They don't want to hear my opinion on other things. And I personally don't want to share it the way things are. I'm going to keep things tight to my chest till I get a needle in my arm. That's all I'm going to say.
Well,
Right?
I was a firm believer that, you know, I'll give you my opinion if you ask for it, but if you don't ask, I'm not going to give it to you, because I think a lot of people are just speaking for the sake of hearing themselves speak, and I don't know. That's just my opinion, and this whole COVID is perpetuating that situation. Christina's asking a very good question, and I have a take on it, but I'm going to ask yours. Does ice forming play into spooking fish?
I think so. Like I couldn't believe how the ice was cracking on Sunday on Simcoe. Like it wasn't. So I want to say the morning temperature was -15, and then it got up to about -5. But there was tons of ice cracking all around us, and I believe it was forming ice. It wasn't ice breaking up. Now there was a lot of traffic on the ice that might have played a part of it. But like it's loud. I'm sure it scares the fish, but I think maybe it's a sound that they're a little more used to. I'm sure, you know, maybe they won't modify their behavior when they hear ice crack. The perch might kind of go, huh, there's a crack. Like kind of like us. If you're used to it, you get used to it. But then if you're not used to an airplane landing beside you on the ice, that's gonna spook you if you're not used to that noise, right?
You're not, and so you're that is my take as well, Jay. I think fish have adapted to the sound of ice forming. Even the augering of holes. Sometimes I find that a minute the hole is augered, you got to get your line down there because the fish are intrigued to what that sound is. I don't know what it sounds like to them. It could be scurrying bait fish or a bait ball. Who knows? But I find that the minute a hole is augered, get your line down there as quick as possible. Don't forget your electronics, forget everything else. Just get your line down because you'll never know. And then I find with the cracking of ice being made, it doesn't spook them as much as, say, a camera. Like, I mean, you put underwater camera. I think that spooks them far more than that kind of noise. But I can only imagine planes taking off, Argos going across, concerts, as AJ or Alicia was mentioning. There was a concert going on. Yeah, they're not used to that kind of stuff. You know, when was the last time they heard music?
But it's ice fishing, man. It's the Oompa band, like in the Grumpy Old Men, right? Like, hey, let's just all break out the beer barrel polka and let's just give her. Like, it's all part of the experience too, right? Like, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. One thing I wanted to say about the camera was we used the camera yesterday, but only to check the bottom type. I was fishing in an area of the lake. I hadn't fished in a long time, and so we weren't catching any fish. I hate. Okay, I shouldn't say hate the camera. The camera's a lot of work. Okay, so you drop it down the hole, you spin it around. So I don't like using it. Someone else likes to use it a lot. He thinks it's real cool, and it's like it's a lot of especially in like 30 feet of water. You're like, oh, you got to wind this thing up and put it back down. But it's great to check bottom type, and that's what we used it for. I'm a big believer that perch like softer bottoms. It's all relative to the area in which you are. There's perch kind of all around Simcoe in certain depths, and then when you're in that area, I think you want to maximize the area that you're fishing and try to find the best habitat in that area. So we use the camera to check bottom type. And I think we were fishing in some pretty harder bottoms. So we went to some softer bottom and bottom that was a little more flat. So where the contour lines are a little more further apart on your Navionics. That's where we got our fish. We only got a few. Does that mean we were on them? I'm not going to say we were, but I think our work yesterday put a few more fish on the ice. A couple tips though I'll give anglers about fishing. When it comes to spooky fish too, like around here, we fish a lot of shallow water, and so hunt fish life outdoors is Mr. Adams. He lives in he is in Port Rowan. He's a local fella, Norfolk guy, and actually, you guys just featured a couple. CFN just featured a couple of his kids in one of the montages.
That's right. Yes, we did. Yep.
And down here on Long Point Bay, where it's 6 and 8 feet of water and it's super clear with lots of weed and the perch are roaming around. They're spooky. And this may sound weird, Scotty, but I like to fish on top of the not the white ice, but the darker, I don't want to fish on the black ice. I want to fish on top of the snow. I want to fish on top of something that those fish are covered, so that I think they're less spooky when I'm on top of that. They're less apt to take off. So even yesterday, I was trying to, where we set up our hub and stuff, was in areas of white ice. Yeah. What had happened was in that part of the lake, it had broken up at some point earlier in the winter, and then it refroze. And so there was huge slabs of white ice that were locked in. Okay. Everywhere out there, the ice was over a foot. I wasn't worried about safety, but it's kind of freaky where you're on that glare ice and everything's it looks like you're standing on chunks of ice that are floating, but they're all just locked in together. So I tried fishing when I realized how spooky those fish were. I was trying to target my holes on top of large chunks of white ice to try and hide myself. Does that make sense? That's my thought on it. And I've done that before in shallow lakes. Am I worried about that in 25 to 28 feet of water, 30 feet of water? No, not normally. But yesterday I kind of got thinking about it because those fish weren't sticking around. They were real skittish. So, it's a bit of a mystery. And I love, Simcoe's kind of new to me. I don't go there a lot. So I like the challenge of going to a new lake. There's some lakes I go to all the time and I catch lots of fish there, and that's fun. I also like going to new places and seeing if we can unravel the mystery a little bit. And we did that yesterday.
That's awesome. Yeah, Simcoe is an angler's haven. It has many outcroppings. It has many shoals, deep spots, all kinds of different cover presentations. And I tell you, for an angler, seasoned or not, it will definitely give you a good test. And as I said, with the number of anglers and the fishing pressure that you will find on that body of water, it's only going to get harder and harder.
And just to clear the air a little bit here, Alicia, I didn't move away from you guys because of your Argo. That is untrue. I was trying to spread out to find fish. You're always welcome to fish near us at all times, even if you have your big noisy Argo. So Alicia and TJ, I was not trying to run away from you yesterday. Please don't think that wasn't the case. I know you don't. I'm just having fun with them. They're probably, I spent so much time hanging out with those two. It's just been a lot of fun. And they showed up yesterday in their Argo. And it was always good to see friends on the ice. So
Christina has another great question. We kept seeing down our hole what we thought was an 8-inch minnow roaming alone. Would a minnow be in a school, or do they travel solo sometimes? I started thinking maybe it was a fry bow.
Oh, you know what? 8-inch, it could be any number of things. If it's down below your hole, so it's suspended in the water column, there's all kinds of larger prey fish out there that kind of do that. I know that herring travel in large schools, but they also will travel in, I've caught them individually as well. There's Kenneth chiming in about round whitefish. So, I'm going to bet it's just some kind of, it could be a Cisco species, could be a smelt. There's a lot of, it depends on what lake and that, but there's a lot of prey fish that do swim right below the hole. We had schools of herring moving through yesterday. We saw them on the flashers that I couldn't tell they were herring, but just their behavior and where they were in the water column, I'm pretty sure they were herring. The perch would behave very differently than the herring, as the perch are mostly bottom hugging, but the herring would come through at let's say in 30 feet of water, they would come, you'd see 1 or 2 bars on your graph. And then all of a sudden it would just be like a Christmas tree lit up for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then they'd be gone. So
right on.
Yeah.
Now you're doing a giveaway, I believe, tonight.
Yeah, I just want to do one more shout out before we do the giveaway. I'm going to give a shout out to International Women's Day, and I'm going to share a couple links in the chat here. One is I was very blessed to take some great pictures of my wife Heather, who does a lot of work for us behind the scenes here. Even packs me lunch once in a while to go ice fishing, which is great. Usually she does that when I'm bringing him, so that makes it easier because she knows what for me. But there's a great feature in Ontario Out of Doors every issue called the Memory Bank, and you could submit pictures to the memory bank and the link that I'm putting in the chat room. Do that. And share your pictures to the memory bank, and then your picture might make it into Alternative Door magazine. They do draws for weekly memory bank photos. You know, we've been lucky enough to win a couple of them over the years. You get a little Alternative Doors package. Great way to share your outdoor memory, not just angling, hunting, or just being outdoors. Okay. You know, and it's Ontario based, of course. I realize this is CFN, but you know, I just think it's a really cool way to share your memories, and yeah, and you can look through the memories of other people too. I like looking through their memory bank, and you know, there's no comments. It's just families and siblings and friends out fishing and hunting. It's just a great website to go check, and you can submit your own photos, and you might get your name pulled in a draw. And I know CFNers love draws. So
yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes,
so if there's any way to get their name in a draw, they're going to go for it. So I say share your pictures and enjoy that.
Congratulations to you, Kevin. My son just won an AquaView in the full tilt tournament that ended yesterday. And speaking of that tournament, there was some awfully big walleye caught.
Yeah.
Do you see some of those? Oh my word! Some stellar greenbacks. Go to their page and make sure you go through some of the news feeds and timeline. You'll be amazed at the size of greenbacks that some of their participants caught. Incredible! What a great tournament.
Yeah. I see Christina mentioned. Yeah, Trevor and I were we made it in the Ontario Doors Fishing Annual. We did we helped a friend of mine, Jason Ford. I might have mentioned already, but I'll mention it again. He's an author, writer for Ontario Doors. He actually works. I think he works for the city of Burlington. He just does writing part-time and outdoor photography, and fantastic angler and a great guy.
Very good.
And he did a whole feature on the Grand River in this year's fishing annual for Ontario Doors. And Trevor and I got a couple pictures in there with him fishing the 8th River, which was a lot of fun. And in this month's issue, I actually got an article in there with Tim Allard on channel cat fishing with a few good friends. So pick up this month's issue of Ontario Doors. And if you want to learn how to catch big channel cats, Tim Allard, who a lot of us know, a writer, check out the article. I got to be collaborator with him and a bunch of other great cat anglers in Ontario. I'm not going to put myself as a great cat angler, but I've caught a few of those ugly things in my day. And yeah, enjoy that. And then some great information about rigs, setups, and where to go catch them. What water bodies in Ontario have channel cats? If you're not sure, check out this month's issue at Ontario Doors.
Do you have a go-to when it comes to bait presentation for channel cats?
You know what? I do. It depends on the season. So, you know, I like cut bait. I like to use shrimp. Summertime on the beaches, I like to use big raw shrimp with the shell still on them.
Okay.
But in the spring, I like to use, like in the sort of the spring, I'm going to include like May and June before they go out to when they're still in the rivers. I'll use more cut bait. Earthworms, dewworms work great too. And even just big bait like big creek chub.
Oh yeah.
Big sucker minnows, like, you know, and sometimes just take that big creek chub and just cut it in half. I guess it's kind of like cut bait, but cut bait, we think about you're going to catch a big white sucker and you're going to section it into cubes, right? Well, sometimes just a big shiner or a big creek chub with the gut, with the stomach slit open to ooze all the guts out. You want to be as dirty as you can, and they love it. They've all caught fish for us, and I find the fresher the better. The fresher the cut bait, the fresher the shrimp, whatever you're using. It doesn't have to be rotten. That's kind of, I don't like the rotten bait, and it's hard to manage rotten bait around here. I'm not very popular when I bring all the rotten cut bait around here, so I try to keep it as fresh, and I find fresh bait is really good. So in April, I like to go out and collect and catch suckers, which are fun. And there's a few species of sucker which you can keep for cut bait. And maybe I'll do a segment on that for CFN coming up as we get into spring. And speaking of seminars, Wednesday night, go over to Ontario Women Anglers Facebook page. I'm doing a seminar on panfish through the seasons. I'll be talking about winter and spring pan fishing and kind of where there's some cool patterns that you can kind of follow the movement of panfish from winter, like midwinter through ice out up to their spawning period. And I'm going to be talking about how to target panfish during that time for the OWA. We're doing it's an Eventbrite event. You can register. I think it's free. And it'll be a Zoom call Wednesday night. I'm doing that. So head on over to Yvonne Brown and the ladies over at Ontario Women Anglers Facebook page and check that out.
You're a busy lad, my friend. You're busy lad. I don't know where you fit all this fish in. I tell you, I got to get a few pages from the Jason Barnucz how-to book because
you gotta tell him or ask him because he'll say, "Dad, get off your phone, Dad, get off your phone. There's a fish on the screen. Get off your phone, Dad." That happens quite a bit some days.
Well, as I said, COVID certainly hasn't helped either. Trying to do the right thing and not travel, not spreading potential virus. And I'll tell you, I'm so glad that in our area we're getting into the gray, and hopefully we're going to get into the red and the greens and what have you. But it seemed as if a weight was lifted off our shoulders that we are, it's kind of cool seeing people in restaurants. It was kind of cool seeing people in stores that haven't been open in 3 months. So hopefully we can get back to somewhat of a norm, but I don't know the way they talk about this third wave. I don't even want to talk about it.
We just need to get more people vaccinated. My grandparents got their first shot last week. Oma and Opa, like that was like one of the greatest events for our family in recent memory. Like even, and I'm going to give a big shout out to hasn't even been announced yet. Maybe I shouldn't say, but I might have a new Trevor's got a new cousin this week. I'm not going to give any names, or I don't think it's been announced on Facebook yet or anything like that. So we've had a birth in the family, and we've had great grandparents. Trevor's great grandparents got their shots this week. Like we've had a pretty good week outside of fishing too. So dude, the big blue dot just keeps spinning, man. We just keep spinning. We got things to do. COVID's just going to spin right off out into space somewhere, and we're going to keep spinning forward. So
we can only hope that that's exactly what's going to happen. Because as I said, I'm sure I speak for all of us. We're darn sick of it, and needs to flag off anytime soon.
Get out of here. Spin on out.
Right on. Well, listen, I know, as I said, we have, I got to share the screen.
Yep. So what we got is so everyone who entered put in 2 questions. So I got 2 bags to raffle off. We'll only get one person gets a bag, but I'm throwing in a pack of flatworms, Berkeley flatworms, which you can't even get these in stores sometimes. And on eBay, they're going for quite a bit of money. So I'm going to throw a pack of flatworms in with each one. So each of these is worth about, I don't know, it's like $50 for the bag, and then another $10 for a pack of flatworms. So we got 2 of these going out. So,
and what was this for again, Jay?
So when I gave my talk, I gave 2 seminars. I was only supposed to do 1 seminar for Andy, and then I ended up doing 2 seminars. And one was caring for your catch, and the other one was shore fishing. Both seminars are on the Spring Fishing and Boat Show Facebook page. And you go over there, and they're actually, what's great about this year's virtual event, Scotty, is those videos are there forever, and you can watch them anytime you want. So hopefully there's some good information there. So everybody here put 2 questions in, and so we're going to raffle off 2 bags. That's what we're going to do.
Fantastic. Right on. Hot dogs for Channel Cats. You recommend hot dogs?
I would, but Trevor eats them. Like, dude, he's 13 years old. If I don't put names on sandwiches, he eats all the sandwiches. Okay? Listen, Alicia and TJ were there the day he ate my lunch and his lunch the same day. Like I can afford to skip a meal. Like, I'm not joking here, but it is when you pack yourself a nice lunch on the side of the river with some extra kielbasa, you got some cheese and crackers and stuff. He ate both. So hot dogs do work, but I don't use them. I don't like to use hot dogs. I tend to stick to my shrimp. I can always get at the grocery store, and worms. in Delhi, Dave's Variety, like they're like $2.50 or $3 a dozen, man, right on the corner. Like Dave Ward, he's the king of Delhi. So
right on. So now we have 2 names to pick. Are we just going to randomly spin for 2 names? How do you want to do this, Jay?
You know what? I think we'll just random. Well, why don't we? I like your elimination. So we get down to the last 2 people.
Last 2 people. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna do it. Okay. We
Yeah.
can do
That's how we're gonna do it.
Fantastic. So let's spin our wheel. I don't know how long this is going to go. Maybe I should check to see how long it's going to last, because we do not want to spin 4 hours on a I'll do 20 seconds. There we go.
All right.
All right. Spin the wheel. So this will eliminate your chance of moving to the winner's circle and taking home one of these wonderful bags, courtesy of our good buddy Jay Barnucz and Berkeley. I am sorry, Lloyd. It's not going to be you, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry, dude. Let's keep spinning. We still have a bunch of names left. Not surprised to see Tony Szanowski's name on here. He's usually involved in all of our CFN giveaways, as you mentioned. Jay, it doesn't. Oh, Fernando.
Oh,
friend too.
Oh, Tony's going to be grumpy.
Oh, I see a flash.
I've been waiting for my text message now from Tony.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Does he own a flasher? I hope he doesn't own a flasher. It'll be in pieces.
Yeah.
All righty. Here we go. Another spin. We're getting down to the last 2 names, both of which are going to win the Berkeley. That's Berkeley. Beautiful Berkeley tackle bag. Oh, sorry, Richard Dunlop. It does, or is it going to get all the way to Tony? No, it's going to hold on, Richard. As I say, we are getting down to the last 2 names. What would those bags be worth, Jay? Just roughly.
I think they're about $50 each. There's actually I don't want to open up the plastic, but inside there's actually, I believe, 3 or 4 tackle trays as well. And it's actually got like little spots to attach your stuff to. It carries a ton of tackle. They're actually pretty nice bags. I have 3 or 4 in the back that are covered in worm guts and mud, and we get a lot of use out of them around here. So they're pretty nice. They're not waterproof, but they got a nice bottom on them. So if you want to take them out in the boat with you, they're good for that. What I like about them is if you're fishing year round, I have in my room, man, I got 30, 40 tackle trays. I can just swap out the trays for what am I going walleye fishing, bring the walleye trays? Am I going trout fishing, bring the trout trays? Cat fishing, bring the cat trays? And I'll just use the same bag year round, but just keep swapping stuff out.
No, makes perfect sense. Sorry, Dave, you are not a part of the winner's circle. We're going to keep spinning. We have 2, 4, 5 names left. We're trying to get down to the last 2 names to award our winners these incredible tackle bags. Is it going to be Christina? Is it going to be Tony? Who's going to be eliminated? Look at that. Tony, by your teeth, man. By the skin of your teeth, buddy. Christina, my apologies that you had to leave. Would have loved to have given you one of those bags. We have 4 names left. Sean Forche, Jeanette, and Curtis Boyle, as well as our good buddy Tony Szanowski. Sean Forche, it does not look like you are going to be a part of this. I apologize, my friend. So we have Jeanette left. We have Curtis Boyle and Tony. Whoever wins this spin, whoever it lands on is eliminated, and it'll be the 2 remaining names that are the winner. Let's find out who those 2 winners are.
Oh man, it's all quiet here.
It's quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Oh, is Tony going to hang on again? Is it going to get all the way around?
Nope.
No, it will not.
Nope.
Wow. Close. I'll tell you. Congratulations to Jeanette, which is Dave NG. If you look at Facebook, and of course Curtis Boyle. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah,
and
send me a message on Facebook, guys, and we'll make arrangements somehow. We'll figure this. Even with COVID, we'll figure this out. So, I'm actually going to start. I got to start going back to work. a couple of days a week now. Like I'm still working every day, but I'm going to start going back to our lab in Burlington. So I'll be on the road a little bit, a couple of days a week to do some lab work, which I'm happy to get back to some normalcy. So I'll be on the road. I can meet up with people, and if I can't do that, we'll ship it out. We're all good. We'll figure it out.
Fantastic, buddy. Listen, as always, thanks so much for bringing this and everything you bring to our CFN community on a weekly basis, each and every Monday. Where can we find you if people are looking for some of your how-tos and must-haves, tips, tricks, and techniques?
You can reach out to me on. I'm kind of a big fan of Instagram. I won't lie to you because I really like how positive it is. It's really a lot of good people sharing pictures and things like that. And I do find that there's a lot less negativity. So reach out to me there, just Jason_Barnucz. And then you can also reach me, and I think that's in my handle there at the bottom. It's almost the same address on Twitter. I'm busy on there, and just look me up on Facebook at The Real Angle. That's kind of my Facebook page. It's not my personal page. I tend to share information like fisheries, fishing tips, stuff like that. So just reach out if you have questions about stuff. And if you have any show ideas too, like we had some great sort of tangents tonight about catfishing and different things and stuff that's coming up. We can do some, we can do some little tidbits on that too. So let Scotty and I know topics you're interested in, and we'll try and make that happen.
Right on, buddy. Thanks so much for doing this, my friend. We will talk to you later, and stay safe. And hopefully you catch your PBs coming this weekend.
Yeah, if I know the fish gods, they will repay me tenfold at some point in time. But I don't know when that'll happen. So, but yeah, it's we'll you know what? We'll get them. We'll get them somehow. But thanks, Scotty. Thanks, everybody. And if I don't see you before next Monday, see you right back here next Monday.
Right on, dude.
Okay.
Thanks again. Peace. Thanks, now, before we bring on Mike, here is a word from one of our sponsors.
That's a cool video, man. I can't hear you properly, Scotty.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now I can. But I don't know if... All right, we're good now.
We're good now? I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. That's a cool video. It shows you, like, when a fish is kind of neutral, you can trigger them to take the bait if it's the right presentation.
You're so right. And this weekend, I had the luxury, if people haven't seen the video, I had an absolute behemoth of a perch swim underneath the hole. And I had a piece of plastic. I had the same dynamite plastic, different color, same jig head from Ugly Boys. And I was shaking it, rattling it, burying it in the mud. I did everything to try and coax that perch back. Eventually, all of a sudden, the blood went, my heart rate went through this roof, because all of a sudden it did an about face, and it came. And what I was doing was I was putting it in the mud and jigging it around, trying to stir up the sediment. The only thing I would have done differently is just let it lay there, because the one thing about those big fish is, as I said, they don't get big like that from being dumb. So and they're lazy. Those big fish sometimes are so lazy that they literally want to pick dead stuff off the bottom. And if there was anything I would have done differently, was exactly that. Just lay the plastic on the bottom, and hopefully it would have picked up. But that was, dude, I would have been a personal best perch if I had grabbed that thing.
You didn't get it.
I did not get it, my friend. No, as God is my witness, it as the story ends she gone, and she never came back again.
Amazing, amazing. I've been seeing some amazing entries because my time is so limited. I haven't seen every single entry, and I love to go through them and comment and post and give my thumbs up and a good luck on every single entry. So if I haven't done that with yours, I apologize, but there's tons of them. So hopefully eventually I can get through every single one, but thank you, especially the kids ones. They just make you smile. So thank you to everyone who has put in an entry. Awesome. Love it.
The as I said, I don't want to pick favorites, but the Soretta family do a fantastic job. Did you see Marlo's submission? You know, Emily is asking, what's your name? This is for Scotty. No. What fish did you catch? This is for Scotty. She just answered that for every single question. Emily it was so adorable, man. I loved
it. Yeah, truly awesome. So remember, the deadline is the 14th. I think that's this Sunday. Am I correct? Or is that another Sunday from now?
No, actually, I think you're right. I think it is. Let me check the calendar. I think it is.
Yeah, that's this Sunday.
It's this
Sunday at 11:59. So before it turns midnight, you need to make sure to submit all the fish that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Mike and I wanted to talk about this tonight because I'm not 100% sure we're going to be able to do Tourney Tuesday, and we will definitely, when we're doing the prizes and putting the prize packs together, we're going to do a fantastic job featuring some of our wicked sponsors when it comes to what is available for our anglers. And the unfortunate part about it, running a tournament like this, and it doesn't happen very often, is sometimes there is negativity or some scrutiny, some stuff that is a little confusing to our community. And Mike and I wanted to discuss it real quick because we have come up with a remedy to the solution, and it speaks to everyone and it benefits our community, which is the most important. Unfortunately, we had a submission, and it is going to be probably the largest fish, although I am hoping that perhaps a CFNer gets lucky and catches one that's bigger. But when it comes to submitting your fish and just general angler etiquette, there's no problem things being a team effort. But unfortunately, when members of a team claim the same fish, it becomes a social media nightmare. And unfortunately, something that was so harmless turned into something that could have been very big. And I'm glad, we run these tournaments, Mike and I, for the sake of fun, because that's truly what it is. And it's not like it's a huge prize necessarily. It is in the eyes of the sponsors. And of course, they want to make sure that they're promoting and backing something that is true, trustworthy, and authentic. So we had to make a decision, unfortunately, because there was a concern. And I brought it to both Mike and Chow. And it was interesting because I had, and it's not often because usually it's Mike and Chow that have the background, but I got reached out to by an angler, a fellow CFNer, and they had some questions that were brought to their concerns, and they brought it to ours. And I reached out to both Mike and Chow, and unfortunately, based on just proper angler etiquette, it was the decision of myself, Mike, and the judges that the fish does still stand because it cannot be proven or disproven that it was not caught in the mouth. Absolutely, you will see a hook in the side of the fish. So a lot of people were concerned that all that fish was snagged. It's quite possible that was the only hook, but we can't prove it. And if you can't prove it, then you have to go with the angler's honesty and submission, because as I said, this is all about the honor system. We're not here to judge, browbeat, or humiliate our contestants and participants. Mike, speak a little bit about that when it comes to the unfortunate part. And it doesn't happen very often. That's the most important thing, guys. This is it's a 1 in a million thing that happens, and we're hoping that stuff like this doesn't happen. And of course, our decision, which we'll tell you very soon, what we've decided, benefits our community. So it's not such a bad thing.
Yeah. Before I comment, just want to say hi to Christina and Gary and Terry and Shane, Curtis. A bunch of people saying hi to me, so I just want to say hi back. Sorry if I missed you. Cliff is there, Adele is there, Mike is there. Thank you for tuning in. Now, it's all about the honor system. So we can't preach honor, 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 and then the angler comes back to us and says it's legit, and then discount his honor. So if we're saying honor system and someone's telling us it is a legit catch, we need to believe that it's a legit catch because we're trusting that the honor system is in play. I watched the video many times. And I know ice fishing myself, if there's multiple people in the hut and if there's multiple lines down different holes and there's a big fish that's going crazy, there is a possibility that another line can get hooked on a fish and there's your own line in the fish's mouth. It's happened to me. I know it's 100% possible. And if the angler is saying, yeah, we hooked it in the mouth, then we have to take that angler's word for it. So that's regarding that fish. And that fish was only entered once into the winter fish. It wasn't entered multiple times by different anglers. Although another angler on another day said they caught that same fish. And is that likely or not? The reality is it was only entered once into the Winter Fish Fest, and the angler that said who caught it said that it was his fish. So
and as I said, it's a harmless thing because the gentleman is from Zimbabwe, and all he wanted to do was send back some of the pics that he and his friends are catching of the fish here in Canada back to his family for them to see. So as I said, he claimed ownership of the fish. I mean, totally, it's against angler etiquette. We don't do that. Anglers, we accept our own fish and only our own fish. We don't hold up other people's fish. We don't claim ownership of other people's fish. It's just not the right thing to do. But unfortunately, it happened in this case, and the angler who lifts it out of the hole claimed ownership of the fish and also owned the mistake. And to his credit, the fish will stand because we cannot prove or disprove that it wasn't caught in the mouth, because clearly it wrapped itself up in the camera cord. It wrapped itself up in multiple lines. So I'm sure they were pulling hooks out of it left, right, and center. The other thing that was spoken to about us, of course, was fish care and the handling of fish. And perhaps that fish was kept out of the water a little bit longer than it needed to be. Do I agree? Yeah, I can't disagree with that because it's all about the fish. It is a catch and release lake that they were fishing on. So, as etiquette would have it, you're supposed to return that fish as soon as possible. But they took a quick measurement, a bunch of pictures. I don't know how long, they had it out of the water, but it would be my guess that it was probably out of the water longer than it needed to be. It did return to the water. It did get released and kicked away. So Mike and I and Shao decided, of course, the fish will stand. However, and I got to applaud the angler that caught this. We are going to, if his fish does stand and a larger fish isn't caught, we are going to donate his prize back to CFN, and it will be drawn to a CFN young angler who has submitted a fish.
Yeah. So our kids prize now has a bonus prize donated by the person who caught that massive pike. So he's going to win the prize if his fish stands, but he's going to donate the prize to our kids raffle, which is awesome. Now
it really is, because as I said, Dan owned it and he took full responsibility. I spoke to his friend who also claimed ownership of the fish. He understands that, obviously what he did wasn't the right thing either. It created a bit of a mess for CFN and Mike and Chow and the rest of the judges. It was easily fixed. A decision was made that will put a smile on the face of a young CFNer. And as I said, I can't commend Dan enough for doing that and owning it and doing what he did to agree to forfeit his prize to a young CFNer.
Yeah, because in my eyes, it's a legit catch.
Yeah,
and he legitly submitted it, and his buddy said, "Can I take a picture of it?" and said, posted on my Facebook page as if I caught it. Now, is that wrong? Some might say yes, some might say no, some might say you could have put it back in the water earlier. You can let your friend take a picture of it. But like, would I have never done that before with my friends? Yeah, I'll catch a huge fish and my dad would say, "Let me take a picture and send my friends." And so I've given my fish to my dad. He took a picture and then we put it back in the water.
And we're not machines. We're not machines, right? When you catch a fish of that caliber, of that size, that could potentially be a provincial record, from what I'm hearing. Like it's quite possible that it's exceeding the provincial record. When you're catching a fish like that, there's a certain sense of excitement, right? And sometimes you're not focused on fish care, fish health, good fish etiquette. You are caught up in the moment. So not, ignoring the human element of the catch of that fish. We deemed to make that decision as, you know what, guys, you did something that I wouldn't do if I was in a tournament, especially if it was going to draw some skepticism, which it did. And I'm so thankful of the anglers that brought it to our attention, as well as Dan and his friend who owned the faux pas. But the decision has been rendered. I just wanted to come clean so that we are transparent to all of you participants, all you contestants, and more so than ever now, our sponsors. Because as I said, I don't want them thinking that they're sponsoring an event that is not doing the right thing. And clearly, everybody involved is on board, on the same page, and we're getting it right.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing I want to mention is, if you do have, information about the legitimacy of whether something was done or the right way or wrong way, you need to make sure to check all your sources and, check, double check. You don't want to paint negativity on someone when you don't know for sure if he or she did anything wrong. Definitely bring it to our attention, but
Absolutely.
I wouldn't place judgment on a person unless I knew for sure 100%. Either I've seen it with my own eyes or I have some sort of piece of evidence that will make me confident enough to bring it to our attention so that it could be addressed. If it's just hearsay, or if it's, you heard from another person or three people down the line, we need to be responsible in terms of our reporting. So just keep that in mind as well.
Alicia, you're 100% right. People can be quick to assume. You're bang on. Absolutely.
Yeah, but definitely thank you for the communication. Thank you for the heads up, and I'm happy with the decision and the process that the due diligence that we did in order to find out what we think is definitely the real story.
And more so than anything, you know what? Regardless, it was a tank of a fish. Buddy, what a fish. What a fish. Anyway.
Fish of a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Fish of a lifetime.
100%. What else are we talking about tonight, Mike?
One more thing. There was an opportunity to get in on some prizes that our American Winter Fish Fest was putting on, but after additional consultation with our American side, we would blow them out of the water in terms of our entries. And so the likelihood, if we were to take all our submissions and submit them to the ILF page, the Americans would have no chance winning that amazing prize that I shown. So there was a little bit of dialogue and contention there. So unfortunately, we won't be able to post our Canadian entries onto the American side to qualify for that mantelpiece. And I understand we'd be taking away prizes from Americans because of our extreme numbers and enthusiasm, and I totally understand. So it was my bad for I thought it would be okay, but it apparently, we don't want we don't want to steal prizes away from their contestants.
No, absolutely. And I think at this point, I want to congratulate our CFN community and all of you CFN Fish Off participants that regularly involve yourself in our events. What we thought was possibly going to be a great thing on a site that has quite a number of followers. It didn't materialize to that, but it's new. Obviously, we had to build our community and our trust with our community. So you would involve yourselves in something that you thought like it's legit. They're not out to steal our money or whatever goes on in this industry. But anyway, I salute all of you CFN fish offers and all you participants that involve yourself in our events. I can't thank you enough because it builds our legitimacy having you guys involved and gals. So thanks so much for that.
Yeah, what amazes people is like, how are all these people across the country wearing your jersey? Or why do all these people have your CFN hats across the country? Or I see so many different types of CFN shirts. And like, how did you do? Like, I get other admins and mods and group members from other groups saying, how did you create such pride around CFN? And I don't know what the answer is. And I think it's just a testament to everyone who's here for your participation and for your positivity and making sure it's not about me, it's not about Scotty, but it's about the community.
And speaking of the community, look at Adele. Do you guys have enough prizes? Like, look at the concern. Yes, we do, Adele. We are fine. We're going to be just fine. No worries about that whatsoever. I can't thank our sponsors enough for doing their thing and stepping up to the plate. And Mike and I will be doing a proper promotion of those prizes so that you guys have an idea of what it is that we're going to be awarding. And for no other reason, Mike and I have just been busy and we haven't been able to divide it all up. So I know we're still waiting for some prizes from Dynamite Plastics. They're going to be coming for our young anglers. Christina has a great prize pack that I do believe we are going to be issuing to the largest fish. But as you just found out, it is probably going to go to a young CFNer instead. So again, it's a win-win, and there's lots to go around, so no need to worry. But thanks, Adele. You're a godsend.
I have a confession before we go, Scotty, and I do have to go. I promise the better half that we'd watch a movie. Okay, but I have a confession. The confession is, I love fishing, but I haven't gone fishing this year. Like in 2021, I have yet to hit the ice.
I know.
And it is painful. So painful, but I just haven't been able to do so.
Mike, I might be able to help you out with that. I might just be able to help you out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you can, let me know. And maybe I can make some time this weekend. But thanks everybody for tuning in. And I hope, like Scotty said, this COVID thing will all disappear. Amen. And then we can get out and do some stuff together.
Amen, brother. Well, listen, enjoy the movie. Thanks for all you do, Mike. And we'll be talking to you real soon.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Well, dudes and ducesses, I'll tell you, it's been another great night full of all kinds of fantastic content and some great, awesome guest speakers. So we've learned a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to the International Women's Day and how we celebrate women in our industry and in our community and what they mean to our community. We can't thank you guys enough for all you do to help build what is CFN, and we are so proud to have you all as CFNers. I can't thank you enough for that. So in closing, what I'd like to do is play our commemorative tribute video that, as I said, Steve Shaw and Walter Huck helped put together. This is for you, ladies. This is for you. It's all about you tonight. Take care, guys. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you real soon. All the best. Peace.